Welcome back to Kleppers Corner. Today in history, the show where one random date on the calendar turns out to be a cosmic piñata full of warfare, diplomacy, moon landings, console launches, riots, revolutions, and the occasional Egyptian president showing up in Jerusalem like he's delivering a surprise singing telegram. Today's date, November 19th, is one of those strangely overloaded days where everything seems to happen. It's like history's group chat got drunk, forgot the schedule, and everybody started announcing major turning points at once. You've got emperors falling, treaties being rejected, tanks rolling, astronauts moonwalking, and Nintendo selling you a motion-controlled device that doubles as a remote and a projectile weapon. November 19th isn't just a date. It's the universe's way of saying, plot twist. So let's dive deep into the historical soup bowl of this day. Starting with a segment that reminds us humans have always had one hobby we cannot quit: inventing new ways to hit each other. Segment 1, the forge of geopolitics, empires on the edge. When you look at November 19th, one theme hits you immediately. Civilizations love to use this day to break stuff. In 461 AD, the Western Roman Empire appointed Libius Severus as emperor, which sounds impressive until you learn he had all the real power of a decorative houseplant. The guy was basically the empire's version of a cardboard cutout. Ricimer, the puppet master behind the throne, was the one actually running the show. This wasn't government. It was an early pilot episode of Real Warlords of Late Antiquity. And like most pilots, it foreshadowed the whole series collapsing. Then you jump to 636 AD and the Battle of Al-Qadisiyah, where the Rashidun Caliphate basically walked up to the Sasanian Empire and said, "Hey, nice empire you got there. It'd be a shame if something transformed it forever." And transform it they did. Persian culture, religion, and political identity were reshaped so profoundly that you can still see the effects today. You know a battle was important when historians talk about it like it was the world's operating system update. But maybe you prefer your November 19th with a little more swordplay and sea spray. Enter 1274 AD, when the Mongols tried to invade Japan at Hakata Bay. The samurai were ready. The Mongols were ready. But Mother Nature said, nope, summoned a typhoon and invented the term kamikaze. It was the ultimate third-party interference. Imagine showing up with the world's most terrifying land army only to get hit with a meteorological uppercut. Fast forward to 1521, where Charles V was out here slapping France around in Milan like it was a Renaissance-era game of political whack-a-mole. This victory set the stage for Habsburg dominance, because nothing says European stability like a family that collects kingdoms the way modern influencers collect brand sponsorships. And then November 19th takes its big turn toward modernity. In 1917, we're at the eve of the Battle of Cambrai, where tanks went from quirky metal rhino to, oh no, these things actually work. This is the day warfare got its 2.0 patch update. Tanks, coordinated artillery, early air power. Cambrai was the prototype for Blitzkrieg. Every modern war movie owes November 19th a royalty check. But nothing tops November 19th, 1942, when the Soviet Union launched Operation Uranus. This wasn't just a counterattack. This was the adult-in-the-room moment where the Eastern Front said, surprise, you're the ones getting surrounded now. The Axis line folded like cheap patio furniture, and suddenly the German 6th Army was stuck in Stalingrad playing the world's least fun version of Escape Room. November 19th wasn't just the turning point of a battle. It was the turning point of World War II. If Cambrai reinvented warfare, Uranus redefined the word oops for the German High Command. Segment 2. The architecture of diplomacy, treaties, breakthroughs, and drama. Diplomacy on November 19th hits every mood swing imaginable. In 1794, the Jay Treaty was signed, a diplomatic attempt to avoid another war with Britain. And yes, it technically succeeded, but at home people reacted like the treaty personally insulted their mother. Federalists loved it, Democratic Republicans hated it, and everybody discovered the joy of partisan political meltdown. Truly, an American tradition was born. Jump to 1919, and the U.S. Senate took one look at the Treaty of Versailles, the treaty ending World War I, and said, "No thanks, we're good." They rejected it twice in one day, which is a level of commitment you usually see only in toxic relationships and Black Friday shoppers. The U.S. skipped out on the League of Nations, which probably could have used a country with actual power. It's like being invited to a neighborhood watch meeting and saying, "Nah, I'll just wait for whatever happens next." Spoiler alert, what happened next was not great. Then November 19th gives us one of the biggest geopolitical plot twists in history. In 1977, Egyptian President Anwar Sadat flew to Israel, an Arab leader in Jerusalem, standing in the Knesset, speaking directly to Israelis. In diplomatic terms, this was a jumping into a Shark Tank wearing steak shorts level of boldness. And yet Sadat's visit cracked open the door to real peace, leading to the Camp David Accords. It also got him assassinated, proving that sometimes peace is the most dangerous thing you can attempt. Then 1985 comes along with the Reagan-Gorbachev Geneva Summit. No treaty signed, just two dudes meeting, talking, smiling, and suddenly the world feels less like a Tom Clancy novel. And exactly 5 years later, the CFE Treaty is signed in Paris, officially dialing down the military tension in Europe. Imagine spending decades stockpiling tanks only to have everyone agree, you know what? Let's Marie Kondo this arsenal. Segment 3, the American experiment, democracy, equality, and the occasional impeachment. If November 19th had a middle name, it would be American political drama. First up, the Gettysburg Address in 1863. Lincoln delivered 272 words that basically rebooted the American mission statement. And the press at the time said, meh. Truly, nobody hates a masterpiece like contemporary critics. It took 150 years for a newspaper to retract their bad take. That's the longest "my bad" in journalism. Then in 1868, we get the suffragists of Vineland, New Jersey. These women showed up to vote, were told no, and basically invented the political version of "hold my beer." Their action didn't change the law, yet, but it lit the fuse that exploded decades later into the 19th Amendment. And then there's November 19th, 1998, when the House Judiciary Committee began impeachment hearings for Bill Clinton. It was political theater before politics became exclusively theater. Democrats called it overreach, Republicans called it justice, and the rest of America called it, wait, we're doing this again? Segment 4, exploration and the cosmos, from Caribbean shores to lunar dust. November 19th is a real estate day. In 1493, Columbus landed in Puerto Rico on his second voyage, which was less voyage of discovery and more voyage of colonization with extra paperwork. This landing kicked off centuries of Spanish control, cultural transformation, and the complicated legacy we still discuss today. And while Puerto Rico has parades, holidays, and festivals around this date, there's also the shadow of that original arrival. History is messy, and November 19th specializes in messy. Then there's Garifuna Settlement Day in Belize, honoring the arrival of the Garifuna people, exiled survivors who rebuilt a culture despite colonial empires trying to erase them. It's one of the few historical dates where resilience gets top billing. And speaking of landing stories, on November 19th, 1969, Apollo 12 touched down on the moon. If Apollo 11 was the "holy crap, we did it" mission, Apollo 12 was the "holy crap, we can do it with precision" mission. They landed within 600 feet of Surveyor 3, walked over, poked at it, pulled off pieces, and took them home like cosmic souvenir thieves. Apollo 12 proved that space wasn't just a stunt. It could be a workspace, like WeWork, but with fewer lawsuits and more oxygen management. Segment 5, technology, commerce, and cultural upheaval. Technology loves this date. On November 19th, 1956, Ford's massive stock offering changed the shape of American business. It was the day the automobile industry joined Wall Street's greatest hits album. a privately controlled industrial dynasty suddenly became a publicly traded Goliath. Thanksgiving dinner at the Ford household that year must have been spirited. Then November 19th becomes the Nerd Super Bowl. In 1998, Valve released Half-Life, a game so revolutionary it made other video games look like they were still using crayons. It reinvented first-person storytelling and set the stage for modern gaming. Then in 2006, the Nintendo Wii arrived in North America. Suddenly, everyone, from kids to grandmas, was participating in virtual tennis, throwing imaginary bowling balls, and occasionally smashing their TV screens. The Wii didn't just sell consoles, it sold emergency room visits. And in 2007, Amazon unveiled the Kindle, selling out in under 6 hours and launching the ebook renaissance. The Kindle did for books what the iPod did for music. It turned entire libraries into something you could lose in a couch cushion. Segment 6, Sports and Society, Triumphs and Total Chaos. November 19th swings from glory to chaos like it's auditioning for a soap opera. In 1969, Pelé scored his 1,000th goal, and Brazilians stormed the field like he just cured all known diseases. The media even compared his feat to the Apollo 12 moonwalk happening the same day. Imagine being so good at soccer, you get compared to astronauts. That's Hall of Fame swagger. And then there's the malice at the Palace in 2004. Pacers versus Pistons. A thrown drink, Ron Artest going into the stands like he's auditioning for a Marvel movie. Fans fighting players, players fighting fans, popcorn raining from the heavens. The NBA responded with suspension so long, you'd think the players were being grounded for life. November 19th showed us that sports can bring us together or turn into a real-time example of why we can't have nice things. And it's also International Men's Day, the annual reminder that men, too, have mental health needs worth talking about, preferably without starting a bar fight. Segment 7, Shadows, Mysteries, and Tragedies. November 19th isn't all triumphs and treaties. It also gives us some unsettling historical shadows. In 1703, the man in the Iron Mask died in the Bastille, ending a mystery that historians, conspiracy theorists, and bored screenwriters still obsess over. Was he a secret twin, a political enemy, a guy who asked Louis XIV the wrong question at a dinner party? We may never know, but boy, did we create some juicy theories. Then you have modern tragedies like the Pike River mine disaster in 2010, the 2013 Beirut embassy bombing, and the 2022 Club Q shooting. Each one a reminder that November 19th also carries the weight of lives lost and communities shaken. And in 2017, Charles Manson died in prison. The man who weaponized a cult and terrified America for decades finally left the stage. If November 19th teaches us anything, it's that history records not only the light, but the darkness that makes the light meaningful. In conclusion, November 19th is one of those dates that makes you wonder if the universe secretly assigned every major event to the same day just to keep historians on their toes. It's a date of empires toppling and treaties igniting debates, of astronauts landing precisely where they intend and soccer icons achieving immortal status, of suffragists demanding rights and senators denying treaties, of peace attempts that reshape continents and uprisings that echo across time. If history is a collection of turning points, then November 19th is a whole toolbox of levers, pulleys, and hinges that shift the world again and again. So next time this date rolls around on the calendar, give it a nod. It's earned the recognition.